All right. Red's complement is directly across it on the color wheel. So if you have your color wheel worksheet, you can look at it and you'll see that directly across from red is green. So that's its complement. Remember, think Christmas colors. So for number 1, you'll write green. Number 2 is right below it. And it says yellow's complement is directly across from yellow. You'll see that we have violet. Right across from yellow is violet. So number 2, the answer is violet. Number 3, blue's complement is directly across from blue is orange. So the answer is orange. And number 4, what happens when complementary colors are mixed together? When these colors are mixed together, they become neutralized. They brown. So you could say they neutralize or they become brown. All right. And then at the bottom, what you're going to do is choose a complementary pair. So you could do red and green, you could do yellow and violet, you can do blue and orange. You're going to choose the primary and then its complement. So I'm going to choose as mine yellow and its complement is violet. All right. Now let's start painting. So what you're going to do is put the complement on the outer side of the square, and inside you're going to put the color, the primary. So what we're going to do is start off with our first one. So red is our primary. So we're working out of our little dish with the primary colors. You don't have to put it in the little pans. So our first one, red goes on the inside. And you guessed it, rinse that brush. Our next one is yellow. Remember, you'll put the primaries on the inside. Rinse the brush. And our last one, number 3, will be blue. Okay. And what we'll do now is work with our secondary colors. So the secondary colors are going to go on the exterior part. So you'll use your secondary set. Reds is green, think Christmas colors. So fill that outer square up with the complement of green. I'm sorry, the complement of red. Number 2 would be violet. Number 3 would be orange. This always reminds me of the Oklahoma City Thunder. All right, and for number 4, you're going to choose a pair, doesn't matter what. I've already written, I'm going to do yellow and violet down at the bottom of my page. I've got orange already on my brush, so I'm just going to stick with orange and blue. So I'm going to pick a complementary pair. So I'm going to add some orange to my palette, rinse my brush, grab its complement, which would be blue. And in theory, when you mix these in equal parts, they'll make a brown, but it doesn't make the traditional brown that we're used to. It's going to be quite an ugly brown, but nonetheless a brown. And I feel, honestly, that blue and orange, they're the ones that make the closest to the brown that we are accustomed to. They're the pair that make the best. Okay. So in this space, you'll just fill it in with that brown color. And actually, I think I did pretty good mixing these. It looks like a legit brown. I almost didn't mix enough. Thought I'd learned that lesson. Okay. Now for the bottom part, and this always confuses students. I wish that on the printed worksheets you'd be able to read what all of this says on here. Unfortunately, it didn't print correctly whenever I made copy after copy. So what you're going to do, it says on the left-hand side, you start off with the primary color, and then on the far right-hand side, you start off with its complement. So what we are doing here is we are making a value scale with the complements, where they will slowly become together and in the middle meet with equal parts. So if you really think about it, the second one and the second to last one are the same. And the third one and the third to last one are the same. They're equal parts here. They're completely opposite on the ends. So, but what happens is it changes just slightly, it changes just a little bit. All right, so the first one, in my primary was yellow, so I'll just use my yellow. And my last one on the right-hand side says complementary color. So its complement is violet. And I will say that I think the violet and yellow make the ugliest brown. It'll look completely different than number 4. Okay. So we've got those placed out. Now, what you're going to do with the second one, it says primary color with some complement added. So if I have a ratio on here and it says 1 part to 0.25. So meaning 1 part of the, one whole big scoop of the complementary color, of the primary color. So 1 scoop of the primary, 1 big old scoop of the primary in my paint palette. And 1/4 of a scoop, so I'm just going to dab this on the paper towel, I don't need to really rinse it, just get all that yellow off. And a fourth of a scoop of the, scrape some of that off, of the complement. Very little, okay? And we're actually going to mix these. So this one's more of a mustard. It's more on the yellow side. Beautiful. Okay. And you'll paint that over here. Don't you just love that color? Looks like Dijon mustard. All right. So our next one says primary color with a little more of the complement. So now it's saying 1 whole scoop of the yellow and a half of a scoop of the violet. So 1 whole scoop of yellow and a half of a scoop of the violet. So this time we've got more violet in there. Now it looks like a burnt mustard. Just slightly different, okay? Rinse that brush. And this last part is both parts equal. So 1 whole scoop of the yellow, 1 whole scoop of the violet. And this is what it's supposed to be, the true brown. And it does make a brown tone. It's just not as brown as the others. Again, just a small difference. All right, and let's work our way. So now we're going to have the complement as the majority. So this one says 1 whole scoop of the complement and a half scoop of the primary. I just busted my brush. I lost a whole chunk of the brush. Okay, it's even smaller than it was. So we're going to take a whole scoop of the violet. Rinse my brush. And a half scoop of the yellow. So again, it looks a lot like this one right here because they're pretty much the same thing. They're just, one has more of the yellow, one has more of the violet. Right. And lastly, a whole scoop of the complement. So the whole scoop of the violet and a fourth of a scoop of the yellow or the primary. And there you have it, our complementary color schemes.